Right, so I warmly welcome you to this Biology 2022 internal past paper. I think you're very much able to see this is 2022, and I invite you to subscribe to this channel, share, like, and support this channel. The first question: Elena was walking along a road when he saw an object under a tree. When the learner touched the object, it changed color, rolled over, and divided into two. I think I've seen this question before. I don't know about you. Which characteristic of living organisms has the object shown? So this object was touched and it changed color, and after changing color, it rolled. The way to roll is to move, and then it divided. Therefore, the answer is D. Because when this learner touched the object responded, which means it is sensitive. It is sensitive. It responded. So there must be sensitivity in your answer. And it divided, which means reproduction. And then it rolled. To roll is to move. So movement. Therefore, the answer is D. Question 2. Which of the following correctly shows the path followed by a light beam from a mirror to a viewer of a specimen under a microscope? Listen, the answer is D. Why? Because light has to come from specimen, which means the object. It has to enter into the objective lenses, then into the barrel, then eyepiece. Light does not move from the eyepiece going downwards. No, it moves from the mirror going upwards. The answer is D. Question 3. Elena investigated osmosis in potato tissues. He set up the apparatus as shown. So we have two potato cylinders, P and Q. We have two potato cylinders, P and Q. And then we have two fluids. We have liquids, distilled water, and a very concentrated sugar solution. At the beginning, the potato cylinders were exactly balanced. He immersed the cylinders into the liquid for 4 hours, after which the cylinders were lifted out of the liquids. Cylinder P was now heavier than cylinder Q. Which statement explains what happened? Okay, the answer is water moved. All right, water moved, yes. Water moved into cylinder P. Why? Because cylinder P has got some concentrated salt solution inside, and it was put in distilled water, so that water was attracted into the potato cylinder P. Okay, so the answer was A. Question 4. 2 samples of human enzyme were used in an experiment. Before they were used, sample X was heated to 80 degrees Celsius and cooled to 37 degrees Celsius. And sample Y was cooled to 0 degrees Celsius and then heated to 37 degrees Celsius. How did this affect the enzyme activity? Let's talk about this. So enzyme X was heated to 80 degrees Celsius and then cooled. So this enzyme was killed. You can't heat the enzyme to that extent. It was killed. Okay? It was killed. So Y was activated. It wasn't killed. No. Y was what? Activated. It wasn't killed. Yes. If at all it was cooled to 0 degrees Celsius and then heated to 37 and not above 37, then Y was inactivated and then later on activated. So the simple explanation here is the answer. The answer is D. Sample Y was active while sample X was inactive. Yes. Number 5. The following table shows the percentage of carbohydrates, fats, and proteins in 4 samples of food. Which food sample contains the most energy? Now, the problem is that people tend to forget that fats have higher energy than carbohydrates. Whenever somebody asks you about energy, all you think about is carbohydrates. You are forgetting that if fats actually are more than twice richer than carbohydrates in terms of energy. one more of fats will give you 39 kilojoules. One more of carbohydrates will give you 17. So fats are much richer in carbohydrates. Okay? So the answer here is B. And the reason is very much simple. Because B, we have 36 as fats, and fats are richer in terms of energy than carbohydrates. And in B, you realize that even carbohydrates is 54. So the answer is B. Number 6, the following symptoms can be caused by a dietary deficiency: bone pain, dental problems, fragile bones, skeletal deformities. Which nutrient deficiency is most likely to cause these symptoms? If you see these symptoms very well, you realize that this is rickets. This is rickets. And rickets are caused by the absence of vitamin what? Vitamin D. Bone pain, dental problems, fragile bones, skeletal deformities. These are symptoms of rickets. And therefore the answer is D. Once you miss D as a child, you suffer from rickets. Number 7, which of the following groups of people need more carbohydrates in their diet? A, aged and youth. B, lactating woman and sick person. C, pregnant woman and sportsman. D, sick person and preschool age. Okay, so I think the answer here, you know the answer. I'm not thinking. I think you know the answer. The answer is C. Pregnant woman and sportsman, they need energy. Actually, a pregnant woman needs all forms of nutrients. A sportsman, for him to run, there is a lot of energy being lost. So he needs energy. So the answer is C. Number 8, a plant had the following signs: poor root growth, small reproductive organs. Which nutrient was the plant lacking? If I thought a plant has got poor root growth, don't think about anything else. Think about phosphorus. Phosphorus is known to support root growth in plants. All right? That's it. So the answer is phosphorus. If they mention something like yellow leaves and the stuff, you would have mentioned magnesium ions or magnesium. As for the root growth, you mentioned phosphorus. Very important. Phosphorus is highly sophisticated for that task. Root growth. So in its absence, there is poor root growth. Okay, number 9. The diagram shows the internal structure of a dicotyledonous leaf. So we have part A, part B, part C, and part D. Let me read the question and I'll explain my answer very well. Which part transports mineral salts and water? When you look at plants, all right, there are 2 bundles called xylem bundles or xylem vessels and phloem vessels. These are the 2 that are involved in the transportation, in the transport system. So for the transportation of mineral salts and water, that is the duty of xylem. And xylem should be there at the center, there, B. That's xylem. That's xylem. Phloem is used for translocation, which means transporting of food. So the answer is B. Number 10. Which of the following best describes saprophytic nutrition? Saprophytic nutrition, the answer is A. Reason being, this is the mode of feeding in which living organisms feed on the dead, rotting, or decaying matter. For example, mushroom feeds on what? On decaying leaves. Another example, mold. When you leave your bread untouched and in the presence of water, you realize that that bread of yours develops molds, fungi. Those are saprophytic nutritions. Okay, even if you don't leave it in the presence of water, actually that plastic where you put bread, it can start condensation. Water will be formed and it will develop fungi. So the answer is A. Number 11, the diagram shows a tooth with signs of decay. So we happen to have enamel, and which is decaying. There is a decay in the enamel. What has caused the tooth to decay? Of course, the answer is acid, which is A. And some person will say sugar. Okay? But the question is saying, what has caused the tooth to decay? Okay? It's acid. And that acid, if you check very well, came as a result of what? Sugar. Because the bacteria feed on the sugar. While feeding on the sugar, they produce acid. They produce acid. Yes, they do produce acid. Okay, number 12. The table shows some of the changes that occur during breathing. We have diaphragm, external intercostal muscles, internal intercostal muscles, from contracted to relaxed, from relaxed to contracted. And we have letters PQR, XYZ. Which changes occur to cause inspiration? In short, they are asking you, what exactly happens to the diaphragm? What exactly happens to the external intercostal muscles? What exactly happens to the internal intercostal muscles? Well, the answer is very much simple. During inspiration, the diaphragm contracts together with the external intercostal muscles. But the internal intercostal muscles do what? Relax. And therefore the answer is B. Sorry, the answer is C. The answer is C. X, which is diaphragm, will contract after being relaxed. Y, which is external intercostal muscles, will contract as well. So the answer is C. Number 13, which products of anaerobic respiration are important for making beer and bread? Beer and bread. Anaerobic respiration. In anaerobic respiration, we should have ethanol and carbon dioxide. So for beer to be brewed, we need ethanol. For bread to be, for the dough to be raised so that the bread can be made, we need carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide is very much important in what we call fizzing. It makes dough to what? To increase. And therefore, the answer is B. The answer is B. Number 14, in order to reduce the effects of COVID-19, people are advised to get vaccinated. What type of immunity results from these vaccinations? So during COVID-19, in order to reduce the effects of COVID-19, people were asked to get vaccinated. So the question is, what type of immunity results from these vaccinations? The answer is very much simple. The COVID-19 vaccine has a virus inside and a bacteria and a bacterium. Okay? So definitely it's a natural thing. It's a natural thing. And it's very active. So the answer is C. Natural, active immunity. Why natural? Because of the presence of the virus and bacterium. The answer is C. Number 15, the diagram shows a cross-section of a dicot plant stem and a dicot plant root. Which labeled regions contain xylem vessels? Xylem vessels. Xylem vessels, transport water and mineral salts from the roots to the leaves through the stem. So let's talk about the stem. The stem, the xylem should be inside, which is Q, the shaded one. Okay? If you forget that one, just remember that xylem should be shaded, should be darker than phloem. So you can even see the root, the shaded one is R. So the answer is Q and R, which is C. Which is C. Number 15, the answer is C. Yeah, shaded because it takes minerals. Number 16, the following is a random list of processes necessary for a wound to heal. So they are simply talking about blood clotting. They are simply asking you whether you can tell them how the process of blood clotting takes place or not. Okay? So we have number 1, the blood clot forms a seal. Number 2, fibrin traps red blood cells. Number 3, fibrinogen is converted to fibrin. Number 4, new tissues form. Well, the answer is C. Number 1, let me say 3, fibrinogen is converted to fibrin. And the fibrin traps red blood cells and the stuff. So 3, 2, 1, 4. The answer is C. Number 7. The diagram shows some body cells and a nearby capillary. So we have cells. We have the fluid filtered out of a capillary. We have blood flow. We have tissue fluid entering the capillary. Which substances must pass in the direction of the arrow X for the cells to respire aerobically? Listen, during aerobic respiration, oxygen and glucose combine to release carbon dioxide and water. So you realize that aerobic respiration is the opposite of photosynthesis, and therefore the answer is A. Carbon dioxide and water should be removed. The answer is A. Number 18. The diagram shows a nephron. Okay, branch from renal artery. We have numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have blood returns to renal vein. We have collecting tube, like that. Where do ultrafiltration and selective reabsorption occur? Okay, they want you to tell them where ultrafiltration and selective reabsorption occur. Ultrafiltration takes place on the glomerulus, and the glomerulus is found in the Bowman's capsule, which is 1. So glomerulus is 1, number 1. Okay? Selective reabsorption takes place in the proximal, the first coil, which is 2. And therefore, the answer is A. The answer is A. Number 19. What is true for a runner at the end of a race in hot weather? In short, what happens when, let me say, after a runner has finished running and it is hot? It is a hot weather. Okay, number 1, just like you have guessed, sweating will be the first one. Sweating will be the first one. Now, the second question is, what exactly is going to happen to this person's, blood vessels, especially arteries? They will open. They are going to open, reason being, heat energy has to come out because it is very hot. Now, opening over the arteries is called vasodilation. Closing is called vasoconstriction. Therefore, the answer is B. The answer is B. Number 20. Which of the following hormones stimulates growth by stimulating synthesis of macromolecules such as carbohydrates, lipids, and proteins? Which of the following hormones stimulates growth by stimulating synthesis of macromolecules such as carbohydrates, lipids, and proteins? They said growth, to stimulate growth, it stimulates growth. Oh, the answer is B, growth hormone. Okay, the answer is growth hormone. Okay, yes. Number 21. Which of the following correctly shows examples and types of reflex actions? Which of the following correctly shows examples and types of reflex actions? So we have spinal reflex, we have cranial reflex, and conditioned reflex. Now, the answer is C. Reason being, when your knee is jerking, that is spinal reflex. That is a reflex emanating from the spinal cord, spinal reflex. Okay? When you are blinking, it's a cranial reflex from the cranial nerves. When you are blinking, okay? It's not a spinal thing, it's a cranial reflex. Okay, when you are salivating, it's a conditioned reflex. When you are salivating, when you are releasing saliva, it's a what? It's a conditioned reflex. It's happening because of conditions. It's a conditioned reflex. The answer is C. Number 22. The diagram shows a human ear. Let me try to help some of you. All right. Label A is a semicircular canal. Semicircular canal. Label B, all right. Label B is tympanum. Label C is eustachian tube. Okay. Label D is scala vestibuli. So which of the labeled parts is involved in balance? What is involved in balance is semicircular canal, which is A. Semicircular canal. Some of you say semi, it's fine. So the answer is A. Semicircular canal, which is A. Okay, let's go to question 23. 23. The diagram shows the elbow joint in two different positions. And then we have muscle X and muscle Y. So this elbow joint is now stretched. You can see, right? It is now stretched. Check very well. It is stretched. It was like this. It's now stretched. What happens to the muscles X and Y to change the position of the elbow joint as shown? In short, what exactly does muscle X do and muscle Y? Muscle X is what? Bicep. Muscle Y is what? Tricep. So what exactly happens? The answer is what? The answer is B. Okay? During stretching, okay, bicep should contract and tricep should relax. The answer is B. 24. Which of the following correctly distinguishes? The word distinguishes means what? Differentiates. Distinguishes ataxic response from a tropic response. Ataxic response from a tropic response. Okay? Ataxic response. Okay, let me talk about ataxic response a bit. Ataxic response is that one that involves moving, all right? Especially because an organism is running away from light or drawing closer to light. A tropic response is usually happened in plants. So the answer is ataxic response is a movement of a whole organism, like the way baby birds do. When you switch on the lights, they move the entire body move. So the answer is C. Tropic response is whereby a plant is responding to light and the plant doesn't move. The entire body doesn't move. Number 25. Which of the following is the correct order of processes that occur during growth? During growth, what is the first thing? And what is the second thing? What exactly is the third thing? The first thing during growth is cell division. Cells have to divide first. They have to divide. The second thing is cells. The cells that have been produced because of dividing should elongate, should increase in size. After increasing in size, those cells should what? Should specialize. And therefore, the answer is A. The answer is A. Cell division, cell elongation, and cell specialization. 26. The diagram shows some seedlings. A seedling is something that is produced by a seed. When a seed develops into something else, it becomes a seedling. Which seedling or seedlings show or shows apigeal germination? By the way, there are two types of germinations. We have apigeal, which takes place in dicots or dicotyledonous plants, and we have hypogeo, which takes place in monocots. And how do I know a dicot and how do I know a monocot? From the roots. A dicot's root is a taproot, which means it has got a long root, which is 2. The answer is C. Apigeo germination is C. Reason being it's a dicot. Number 27. The diagram shows asexual reproduction in a unicellular organism. A unicellular organism is an organism which is made up of one cell. For example, amoeba. Okay? Amoeba. A-M-O-E-B-A. Amoeba. So what type of asexual reproduction is shown? By the way, asexual means reproducing without sex, without two organisms to mate. That is asexual, which means reproducing in the absence of sex, intercourse. So what is this type of reproduction? The answer is budding, or budding if you like. B. It's budding. B. Okay? It's not fragmentation, it's not binary fission. If it was binary fission, would have the same size. Number 28. The diagram shows a strawberry plant. The diagram shows a strawberry plant. And we have parts A, B, C, D. Which labeled part of the plant can only be produced by asexual reproduction? Let me tell you something, okay? When you are talking about such plants, asexual reproduction is brought up by stolons. So if you check, what is a stolon? A stolon is that like a stem, like you know what I'm saying. This line here where D branches from. Okay, so A is not branching from a stolon, B is not branching from stolon, C is not branching from stolon, D is branching from stolon. That's why you see it alone. And the answer is D, from stolon. 29. Which processes occur in the carpel of a flower? A carpel of a flower. A carpel of flower. In a carpel of in the carpel of a flower, there is pollination, there is fertilization. Okay? What is pollination? Pollination is the transfer of pollen grains from anthers to stigma. So transferring of pollen grains from anthers to stigma is the same as what? Releasing pollens. Okay? And therefore the answer is D. Releasing pollen and fertilization. In the carpel of a flower, pollens are released and fertilization takes place. Okay, let's go to number 30. The following processes occur during reproduction in flowering plants. Number 1, fertilization. Number 2, growth of pollen tubes. Number 3, pollination. Number 4, seed formation. In which order do these processes occur? Okay? Number 1, like I said in the previous question, pollination, that is the first thing. Pollination should be the first thing. Pollen grains have to be released. Number 2, pollen tubes should grow. There should be growth of pollen tubes. Number 3, fertilization should take place. After fertilization, seeds will be formed, and the answer is C. 3214. 3214. 31. A frog becomes an adult when? Okay, when exactly does a frog become an adult? How do you know that this frog is an adult? Because you might have a lot of frogs, and you might get confused which one is an adult, which one is older than the other. When is a frog an adult? Okay, the answer is very simple. How do you know an adult frog? Okay, adult frogs have no tails, or they have shorter or shortest tails. A tail. Okay, the more a frog grows, the more its tail gets shorter or smaller. So the answer is D. Its tail gets smaller. Number 32. The diagrams show 4 methods of birth control. Birth control. Okay? Birth control. We have A, we have B, we have C, and D. Which one is placed in the uterus? We're talking about birth control. There is a woman who doesn't want to give birth. Okay, who is doing family planning. So, what exactly can she use to, in her uterus to prevent birth? The answer is B. What is B? B is what? You call it what? Intrauterine device. Intrauterine device, or uterine if you like, device. So the answer is B. Number 33. What makes tongue rolling an example of discontinuous variation? What makes tongue rolling an example of discontinuous variation? For those of you who do not know, there are 2 types of variation. We have discontinuous variation and continuous variation. Now the question is, what makes tongue rolling an example of discontinuous variation? And the answer is very much simple. The answer is A. Why? Because a person can either roll a tongue or cannot. Yes, it is a discontinuous because there are people who can roll their tongues and there are people who cannot. So the answer is A. Number 34. The diagram shows one of the stages in mitosis. By the way, there are 2 types of cell division. We have mitosis and what? Meiosis. Mitosis takes place outside the outside the sexual organs. All right? Mitosis takes place outside. So what is this phase? Which of the following stages in mitosis is shown in the diagram? Well, the answer here is A. Okay? And if you want to learn more, all right, there is a number in the description of this video and in the comment section of this video. All right? You can come in for WhatsApp tuitions. You can enroll yourself for WhatsApp tuitions to learn more. So the answer is A. This is genetics. The answer is A. Anaphase. Number 35. To which phylum or phylum do algae belong? Algae. To which phylum or phylum do algae belong? Okay? An algae belongs to B, chlorophyta or chlorophyta, chlorophyta or chlorophyta. Okay, I think you know algae. In Bemba we say limbwe limbwe. I don't know those stuff. Filimbwe limbwe. All right, that's what we say in Bemba. All right, filimbwe limbwe. They are green, huh? They are green, right? That's why you see the word chloro from the word chlorophyll, chlorophyta. Okay, chlorophyta. All right, filimbwe, if you are green, green, green. So the answer is B. Okay. Algae, if you remember, like that. Number 36. The diagrams show an experiment set up to compare porosity of two types of soils. By the way, those of you who don't know the meaning of the word porosity, the word porosity comes from the word pores, or from the word porous, and porous means hose, like hose. If punda, in Bemba we say punda, hose, pores. All right, pores. All right. Okay, yes. So it's like the amount or the pores inside a structure. Okay, after 10 minutes, the results showed that different volumes of water were collected in the two measuring cylinders. The conclusion was that, I think you can see what is happening here. You can see what is happening here. The answer is D. Okay. So B had high porosity because it was sand soil. A sand soil has got a lot of porosity inside. Number 37. Which of the following lists of components of the ecosystem forms the abiotic component? The word abiotic comes from the word biotic. The word biotic means involving life. Things with life, living organisms with life. So when I say abiotic, I mean the opposite. Abiotic means without life. Biotic means with life. So A cannot be the answer because there is fish. Fish has got life and green plants. B, grass has got life. C, fish has got life. The answer is D. In D, water, sunlight, and air. These three do not have life. Therefore, they are abiotic. They don't have life. Yes, they don't have. 38. The diagram shows an ecological pyramid. Ecological pyramid. If you check very well, this ecological pyramid is talking about energy levels. How come D is the greatest, C is the second greatest, B is the third greatest, and A is the last one? Let's go to the question first. Which of the levels shows primary consumers? Okay. You see, grass has got 100% energy, and grass will be eaten by rabbits. Rabbits will be eaten by snakes, and snakes will be eaten by hawks. And that's why you see the energy level is changing, is decreasing. Okay? So the answer is C, primary consumers. The first organisms to feed on grass are rabbits. So the answer is C. Second last question. The diagram shows, this is the 9, the diagram shows part of the nitrogen cycle. Nitrogen cycle, which means how nitrogen is exchanged from living organisms, to the roots, or let me say soils, from soils to the atmosphere, like that. Now the question, which stage depends on nitrifying bacteria? The stage that requires or that depends on nitrifying bacteria is called nitrification. It's called nitrification. So what is nitrification? Nitrification is the changing of ammonia to nitrate. So the answer is C, because ammonia is changing to nitrate. Yes, the answer is C. That's where nitrification is needed between ammonia and nitrate. Yes, because C is nitrification, and nitrification needs nitrifying bacteria. The last one, question 40. An adaptive feature of an organism is defined as one that helps the organism to... Please subscribe to this channel. I've done all the questions you were requesting for biology. I've done it. Subscribe before I stop. Subscribe to this channel. All right, do subscribe, invite your friends, share these videos, subscribe. You have to support your local team. That's being wise. All right, so the answer is change. On number 40, the answer is A, change. When you are able to adapt, then it means you are able to change. So thank you very much for your time, and I wish you all the best in your exams.